Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Joseph. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box. I'll get to as soon as I can. So Joseph wanted me to ask, which I know this is after Christmas, so I apologize, but my top 10 favorite Christmas action films. Now, yeah, you could argue that none of these are quote Christmas movies, and there may be some that I leave out that I wasn't sure. Like honorable mentions, The Last Boy Scout. If it was, I would put it somewhere on the list, but I wasn't sure if that was a Christmas action movie. I mean, Santa Claus is mentioned. Old Satan Claus is out there, but I wasn't really sure if that was a Christmas movie or not. But I love The Last Boy Scout. Other ones that were honorable mentions, Violent Night, I do like, although I think it takes a bit too long to get into the action, and there's not as much action as I was hoping for. But I had fun with Violent Night. And another honorable mention, Reindeer Games, which I reviewed not too long ago. Rewatched it again. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I don't. Reindeer Games, it's not as bad as people say, in my opinion. If you want to know why, feel free to watch that review. It's on the channel. But at the end of the 10 list, number 10, I put Batman Returns. Solid movie. Always enjoyed it. I know it was viewed as darker. So the kids were afraid, or the parents were, because the parents were more complaining, oh, can't get my kid to McDonald's because Penguin bit someone's nose off. It's like, well, it's not the filmmaker to care about McDonald's. I loved what Tim Burton brought to the film. You definitely have a Christmas flair with the snow, and I always forget her name, the one that was kidnapped and then the bats come and she falls to her death, and you have that parade. Not parade, but that ceremony at the bottom. And all the stuff with the penguins, and I mean, it definitely creates a Christmas aura. A dark, brooding one, but nice to see Michael Keaton back as Batman. Danny DeVito does a very creepy, unnerving job as the Penguin. Michelle Pfeiffer, to me, is still the sexiest, beautiful, most beautiful Catwoman. Got another banger of a score by Danny Elfman. I thought that, I almost want to say, if at times it felt like I had a bigger budget than the first one. Especially when you had all those bad guys that were all part of the circus, and Batman's just kicking ass and banging two heads together, and there's ball hurling from over the top, and Batman puts a bomb on him, and I know he smiles, so Batman's a killer in this. He did kill people. I know that's the big rule. Batman's not supposed to kill people. Well, if Michael Keaton does it, I'm fine with if Michael Keaton does it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a connoisseur of the comics. I didn't grow up with the comics. I grew up with these movies. So-called nostalgia. These were my introduction to Batman. Batman and Batman Returns. So there'll always be some of my faves of that character. And Batman Returns, just a good movie. Number 9, The Long Kiss Goodnight. Underrated one. Directed by Rennie Harlan. Shane Black had a hand in writing it, so a lot of times he has the Christmas flavor to his movies, like Lethal Weapon, which will be later on the list. Gina Davis. Always thought it was a bit of an underrated actress, whether it be Beetlejuice, whether it be this film, whether it be The Fly. I thought she could handle herself as an action star. I liked this a lot better than Cutthroat Island. I thought this better suited both Rennie and Gina, who I know were an item for a while. Sam Jackson, he's a lot of fun. I know he said that this is one of his favorite characters that he's ever done. At least he said on a talk show that if it's his favorite or one of his favorite characters. I can see why. He's a lot of fun. You can't kill me! Very crowd pleasing moment. Great action set pieces, whether it be some car chases, gunplay, the whole model when the bridge blows up. And yeah, there's some up close shots where you see like the people driving and stuff in the background. Is it not the best? But the wide shots of the model bridge blowing up, very cool. Has a wonderful trailer using the music from that would later be in the Matrix trailer. Gave it definitely an epic feel. Solid action movie that, to repeat, it's underrated. It doesn't get talked about as much as it should. It was a nice gem of a film that got buried for whatever the hell reason. Maybe because of the bad stink Cutthroat Island laid to rest the studio of Caracol. So, oh, it's Gina Davis and Rennie Harlan again. The last movie they made was Cutthroat Island. And maybe they didn't give it more of a fair chance. I don't know. But The Long Kiss Goodnight, definitely a fun one to see on the holiday season block of movies. Number 8, Invasion USA. One of my favorite Chuck Norris movies. America gets invaded. Chuck kills them all. As he should and as he would. Of course, it's Chuck Norris. He's got to kill them all. Tell Rostov it's time to die. Lots of action. Richard Lynch as your bad guy worked very well. Chuck Norris, just a total badass, like you're in a video game. Yes, I mean, there's leaps of logic where at times Chuck Norris's character just appears. How did he know that this one this one bus had this one bomb, and that's where it was, and that's where he needed to go, and that's where he needed to be at that time? I don't know, his telekinesis, his telepathic, something with tele in it. I don't know, just, he's Chuck Norris, that's why. He could feel the Force. In fact, the Force relies on him. It's just, the other do push-ups, he's pushing the Earth down. And I trace the Force. That's how the Force created. Not midichlorians and this shit. It's because of Chuck Norris' sweat. Goes to the ether. And it creates the Force. So the reason the Death Star blew up, Chuck Norris' sweat. It's Invasion USA. It's a kick-ass, over-the-top action film where he's just kicking ass, taking names. Has those great Uzis. I love the bit in the shopping mall. And just, you really hate the bad guys. I mean, they go into a block, they do clearly say everyone's trying to celebrate Christmas, and they just blow up the whole block with rocket launchers. And they'll blow up this house, blow up this house, blow up this house, and ruin everybody's Christmas. And kill everybody on Christmas. Really makes you hate the bad guys. Rostov, it's time to die. And you get blown up by a rocket launcher, pretty good death for your bad guy. So Invasion USA, like I said, one of my favorite Chuck Norris films. Very fun movie. Number 7, I put Die Hard 2. It takes place around Christmas. Like the first one. And Die Hard 2, I've always liked. I probably warmed up to it, no pun intended, even more throughout the years because I never knew it was kind of dismissed. Now, Die Hard is my favorite of the 4. To me, there's 4. Fuck the 5th one. Of the 4, Die Hard 1 was always my favorite. Die Hard with a Vengeance I thought was the best sequel. But yeah, Die Hard 2, it did well when it came out. Some critics liked it. It got 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert. I love the airport setting. The villains, where you got William Sadler and a bit role Robert Patrick, and you had a good cast. You have memorable lines and verbal exchanges, like when Bruce Willis is verbal jousting with Dennis Franz. What sets out the better detective first? The lead in your ass or the shit in your brains? You fat fuck. I know my friend Fabio, he always does a killer Dennis Franz impression. I could hear him now. Just shut down the whole airport. Shut down the whole fucking airport. And good action set pieces, whether it be the ejector scene. Yes, I know it's unrealistic. When the grenades pop in, they take like 30 seconds to blow up. Can you imagine having grenades that do that? Can you imagine in war? If you blow up, blow the fuck up. Why did you blow? They got, maybe they had, I don't know, maybe the grenades were from China. I don't know. That's why they're broken. I don't know. It just, I know there's shit like that you watch. You go, why does it take so long for the? But it's such a killer stunt that I guess I forgive it despite its illogical shit. It looks cool, the ejector bit and his reaction. Oh shit! The snowmobile sequence, the bits on the wing of the plane. Rennie Harlan once again did a bang-up job directing. I always loved Rennie Harlan. I always thought he was underrated director. Cliffhanger, this one. I mentioned a Long History Night, Mindhunters, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. But anyway, Die Hard 2. What was the other thing I was on? Oh, it's also surprisingly violent. You got nice blood squiz, but you got like the icicle in the eye. That's a nice bloody bit. Oh, I should mention Sally Art Evans, who plays an ally of John McClane. Art Evans, very good actor. Sally, he passed away not too long ago. I think like a week or two ago. It's a shame. Because I always thought he did a good job in this. I thought he was a good ally. He's the guy who Bruce Willis saves when they're on the conveyor belt and Robert Patrick and them are trying to shoot him and Bruce Willis gets in and then has to get Art Evans down while I forget, some tower, something blew up outside. And yeah, he was good in it. It's sad that he passed away. I think he was like in his 80s, which I didn't know he was that old, but rest in peace to him. Die Hard 2, it makes me want to rewatch it right now. I want to rewatch Die Hard, do a commentary or something. Die Hard 2, sometimes it feels like it takes maybe a bit too long to get started, but still it was nice to see Bonnie Bedelia and William Atherton and Reginald VelJohnson. I wish he had more to do. Again, I think the airport setting is very cool. Number 6, I put First Blood. I know you're surprised it's not higher. It's hard because all these films I want to talk about to me are classes. They're like the tops of the tops of the tops. Because I love action. I love these kind of films, so it's hard to pick. But First Blood, my favorite Rambo film is 2 and 3, but First Blood does take place around Christmas. You see the Christmas decorations in the police station. And based on a novel that was much more violent, much more, in a way, much more depressing. Because Rambo killed everybody and then he gets put down. This is like the Frankenstein monster. He can't live out there anymore. But Stallone, rewrote it to be a bit more of a, I don't want to say uplifting movie, but there's a little bit of hope at the end after he lets his speech out, which is a great speech, wonderful acting performance. I never understood why. I don't understand what he's saying. Well, maybe get the dick out of your ears and you'll hear it. But I mean, great locations, wonderful setting in the wilderness, him hunting people left and right. I mean, there's not a lot of bang, big action set pieces. It's more of a lean, mean action machine in terms of, you know, to the basics. It's the escape, hunting. Yeah, a little bit of firepower at the end with blowing up the ammo store and shooting up the police station. I mean, the others definitely have much more of a chaos in terms of the action. But First Blood is what started it all. In a weird way, I kind of always think of First Blood as a drama. Like it's an action film, but I always think of like a drama first. Like drama and action. But it does a good job of that. Brian Dennehy, Richard Crenna, good cast. Fairly young David Caruso. I mean, what more can I say about First Blood that hasn't been said? Number 5, Lethal Weapon. One of the best buddy cop films out there. Mel Gibson, my favorite film he's done is the first Lethal Weapon. I think he just does a wonderful job as Martin Riggs. And you feel for his character and his Christmas season, and he's ready to blow his brains out, and he just doesn't want to live, and he has a death wish, and you really felt the rawness of the emotions, and just how crazy Sally he's at. That's pretty tragic. And it's kind of nice that by investing his soul into this family, Danny Glover and his family, he kind of found a new lease in life. And it's interesting when you watch the sequels that by the fourth film, how much he's changed from the first film. It's kind of a nice arc. And Grant is part is like, man, I liked it when he was the he was the guy in the first film. He was like a badass, but in reality, it's like his soul's been healed and he's now much more ready to be alive. So that's why we don't need a Lethal Weapon 5, because the fourth one ended it perfectly. But they can never leave well enough alone. But yeah, the first Lethal Weapon, the chemistry between Danny Glover and Mel Gibson, they're on point. The villains, Deary Busey, before he started touching people at conventions. Tom Atkins, he makes an appearance. Great score, nice Christmas music. And anytime I hear Jingle Bell Rock, I always think of this movie. A jingle bell swing and a jingle bell. And I always think of that lady jumping off the fucking roof. Not the roof, but jumping out the window. Yeah, Lethal Weapon, then that's another classic. A lot of these is like, what more can I say that hasn't been said, but good action set pieces once again. There's the interrogation scene with Al Leone, who's in Die Hard and Big Trouble in Little China, where he's like doing the headbutt and putting his legs up and breaks the guy's neck. The cool bit with Danny Glover doing the kind of thing with his. And nice character moments, like when they're at the shooting range and Danny's able to get the perfect shot. But then Mel Gibson shows up with doing the eyes and the smile. It's not every action film you get an ode to the Three Stooges, which Mel Gibson does. Yeah, and that's real. That's a real badge. This is a real fucking gun. I even like the director's cut where he deals with the sniper. I don't know why that scene was cut out. Hello, Mr. Sniper. So you like to kill kids, huh? I thought that scene should have been left in. That might be one that I do prefer the director's cut. That might be. That I do prefer the director's cut over the theatrical. I even like the song at the end by Honeymoon Suite, which is funny, a quick story. I didn't know that song existed, even though I watched this film countless times as a kid. because we would have VHS tapes where we would tape it, so you'd have like 3 or 4 movies. So the credits would play a bit, then oh, stop it. So that'll leave a bit more time to record the second movie after it. After it, I think that one did have like Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2, Lethal Weapon 3. So you just sit down and just watch all 3 of them in a row. But it would cut off the credits, so it wasn't until finally the DVD came out. I don't even know when I picked it up. Probably sometime the early 2000s, maybe 2002. I can't remember. When did the DVD come out for it? Anyway, and then finally I gave it a listen. I'm like, what the hell is this song? You're a lethal weapon. I'm like, I like this song. What the fuck? I haven't heard this song for all these years. Shit. That's why it's not bad to watch the credits. But anyway, Lethal Weapon's a classic. I like all 4. The 4th one has grown on me a bit. I was never the biggest fan, but there's been so many sequels that have just pissed themselves so much more horribly that Lethal Weapon 4 has kind of risen the ranks of, it's not that bad compared to a lot of other movies. Number 4, I put Rocky 4. I didn't even do that on purpose. Rocky 4 and number 4. It does take place, because the fight takes place on Christmas. And it makes sense also with Rocky training in the snow, and you got the Chipmunks Christmas song being heard when Tony Burton is playing chess with the Russian. Christmas time is here. And I mean, Rocky 4 is my favorite Rocky film. It's Ivan Drago, Great Bad Guy by Dolph Lundgren, Wonderful Presence, Man of Few Words. Unlike that stupid director's cut where they gave him so much more dialogue that was not the best. It was better when he just let his body, his presence, his stare do the talking. The best training montages ever. My favorite soundtrack of all time. I love the Rocky 4 soundtrack. Hearts on Fire, Eye of the Tiger's on there, which was in Rocky 3, but it's still on the soundtrack. Sweet as Victory. I love the music by Vince DiCola, the score. And yeah, that's family stopping nearby if you're wondering what that is. Because it is still the holiday season. So there's family stopping by and talking. Wondering, who's that? Someone break in? No, they broke in to steal my list. They heard I was talking about Rocky 4. It's like, I need to watch that. Hey, let's go watch it. It's like, sorry, it's not playing at the theater. I wish. I know a lot of people, like, they have movies, old movies that play at the theater. They don't do that stuff nowadays. They don't do that stuff around here, sadly. But it is what it is. But yeah, I love the fight at the end. I love the training montages. Yes, it is like one music video, but it's a hell of a good music video. No Easy... Again, great soundtrack. No Easy Way Out. I would say Hearts on Fire, Sweet as Victory, No Easy Way Out are I would say those are my top 3 favorite songs on the soundtrack. But yeah, good, fun film. Perhaps my favorite boxing film. Number 3, which I know is going to be... What? Because there's a part of me that wants to put this at number 1, because most people will put this at number 1. And I don't really find anything wrong with the movie, but number 3 I put Die Hard. And because I adore Die Hard, it's one of my favorite films, it's a classic, what more can be said? Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. I love the setting of the building. It's definitely the most... It's the movie that has influenced the most out of all these films. Countless movies. It's Die Hard on a bridge. It's Die Hard in a hockey rink. It's Die Hard in the mountains. It's Die Hard on a train. It's all sorts of stuff. It's Die Hard on a battleship. Just... I don't find anything wrong with it. It's just an absolute classic. It's a long film and it doesn't feel it. It's got great set pieces. The whole helicopter bit. And John McClane, yes, again, I know it's unrealistic that he'd be hanging outside long enough to be able to swing, shoot the glass, go through. But that's where you get into escapism. See, even my body is rejected to be put as a number three because again, I don't find anything. It's an absolute classic. It's just the first two I just think are more underrated, and their films. Well, I love Die Hard to death. I could watch that anytime. The first two I rewatch more as a kid, so chalked up to nostalgia. And there's a little bit extra in the first two that puts it above it for me. But yeah, Die Hard is absolute classic. Hans Gruber is one of the best villains in action film history. Reginald Vo Johnson, Bonnie Bedelia, a lot of great lines. Hans Bubby, I'm your white knight. Yippee motherfucker. That's the way Alan Rickman says it. And yes, it is a Christmas movie. I'm sorry, Bruce Willis, that you say is not Christmas. It is a Christmas movie. Okay, it's a Christmas film. He's there because it's Christmas. He's there for the Christmas party. He wants to see his family again because of Christmas. The reason they're doing the heist is because it's Christmas. Theo, it's Christmas. There's Christmas songs throughout the film. It ends with a Christmas song. It's a Christmas movie. Sorry, it's a Christmas film. So that fucking debate is stupid. It's a Christmas movie. Number two, I put I Come in Peace. Because I love that it has a horror sci-fi element as long as an action buddy cop. It does take place at Christmas. Even the very beginning, you have a guy driving the car. Listen, it's supposed to be Christmas music. CD blasts out. He crashes his car. Merry fucking Christmas. I think even Dolph Lundgren wishes someone Merry Christmas when he stops the robbery. And throughout the film, you see some places with little Christmas decorations. And I love I Come in Peace. It's my favorite Dolph Lundgren film. I love the idea an alien from outer space has come down to kill people. Well, to get people in a state where he gets them drugged up, puts a damn thing in their head to take their endorphins, because that's the drug of choice, because he's a drug dealer. And he wants to collect enough drugs to go back and go, look at this taste. And then if they get that taste and like it, that means there'll be a lot more aliens bumping and grinding a lot more heads to get a lot more drugs. So I love that idea. It's a very unique idea, very original idea. I love the buddy cop chemistry between Dolph and Brian Benben. This music by Jan Hammer. I wish there was an official release. You do find like people doing remixes of it, but I wish there was a full release of that score. It's a great score. I think Trader Baxley got a lot of action for his small budget. There's foot chases, there's the big ass alien guns that blowing up every car in the whole garage, and stunt work where people jumping through windows, and Dolph's got the shotgun and getting barrels and blowing up in front of the alien, and car chases where they're going through malls and on sidewalks, and there's some fisticuffs where Dolph's able to use a bit of his martial arts. There's the great battle at the end where the alien's trying to have that thing stick into him, and Dolph like, moving it around and trying to push it back. Fuck you, spaceman. And one of the best one-liners in action film history. I come in peace. And you go in pieces, asshole. I Come in Peace is pure awesomeness. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's fucking awesome. I think because it's got that killer alien, again, sci-fi angle, I'm a sucker for that stuff. For that combination of action, horror, sci-fi. I love that combo, so. That's number two. And number one, I put Cobra. Which, yes, it takes place around Christmas. You see Christmas decorations in the place that the robber holds up at the beginning. When Cobra is cutting the pizza with scissors. There's a Christmas commercial. I think Toys R Us. And I know people will be like, really, Matt? Cobra is number one over Die Hard? I know I had to really think about that because I'm like, why would I? But yeah, I understand. Stallone is my favorite action star. Cobra, I think, is vastly underrated. Die Hard gets its props as it should. Cobra never does. I think it has such iconic poster, has a great look. It's a lean film at like 80 to 90 minutes because so much of it sadly got cut out. I wish we could see the full 2 hour cut. That will never happen though. Brian Thompson is such an intimidating bad guy. I love the one-liners. You're disease, and I'm the cure. Or this is where the law stops, and I start. Sucker. I love that it has this kind of horror slasher vibe, as well as being an action film. And again, I love that combination. With that brooding, menacing score at the beginning, and all the killers with the axes. The night slasher with the knife, which I actually have the knife. Someone gave me this type of knife. Someone gave me this as a gift. So it's a very, like, that's a cool design of a knife, especially this stuff here, which is sharp as shit. So I don't want to play with it too much. And a lot of that unique knife, that unique cool looking car was a 1950 Mercury, something like that. The machine gun Stallone has, which is unique, is they call it Jetomatic, with the laser sighting. Yeah, the Beretta with the Cobra emblem. It's definitely a take on Dirty Harry, but it has much more of that 80s style flavor. I love the soundtrack. Feel the Heat, Voice of America's Sons. Feel the heat, yeah. I do love the soundtrack. Again, the score has a nice brooding menace a lot of the times. Even the beginning where the sky's like blood red. I like the look of the film. Some of the pretty tight editing. That is reminiscent of the music videos of its day, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, you guys seen also with Stallone in the back of a pickup truck mowing down bad guys left and right. Or him going around like he's Jason Voorhees, killing people one by one, stalking, stabbing them or lighting them on fire. The right to remain silent. Just a total I mean, he even hooks the bad guy, and he's not only hooked in the back, but then he's led to be burnt up. That's what I mean. I wish we could see the full uncut version, because I think it was a more violent movie. I think it was a much more violent film. At least that's what I've heard. I heard that you really saw the bad guys really kill a lot of people in the town. There's a lot of gory moments. That Brian Thompson's death was, you saw much more. Like, you saw much more of the hook going in and him being burnt up. I know George Cosmatos is, his name is on as the director, but most people say really Sylvester Stallone directed the film. They also say the same with Rambo 2. Now, George Cosmatos has directed stuff I like, Of Unknown Origin, Leviathan, so whether that's Stallone, he just had his... I can't believe George had no say in the film. Now, maybe Stallone called the shots because he was the big star, he was the big money maker. Had final say, but I can't think George had nothing to do with it. Again, I saw talent in Of Unknown Origin and Leviathan, so... But anyway. I love Cobra. To me, Cobra is a film that exemplifies what the 80s were. Just the tone, the attitude, the style. Like, if you asked me what's a movie that represents the 80s, look at the poster and the movie of Cobra, and that's the 80s to me. That's just the pure 80s to me. And maybe that's another reason why I love Cobra so much, because it reminds me of a time period where I just enjoyed movies a lot more. Yes, there are movies I like today, despite what people think, but I'm also much more judgmental and harsh because we had movies like Cobra and I Die Hard and like all these movies I'm talking about from the 80s and 90s, which I just noticed that, yeah, 80s, 90s, 80s, 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 90s, 80s, 90s, 90s. So, yeah, nothing from the 2000s onward. They even do that on purpose. But that's my list. Thanks for watching. Take care. Makes me want to rewatch a lot of these movies. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.